it's Emily Munn and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I want to talk about the Poshmark draft feature, which is a new feature on the Poshmark app. If you aren't familiar with my channel, I do work full-time in a corporate job, but on the side I sell on the Poshmark app, and one of the new features that has recently been released to everybody, and I got it recently, is the draft feature. So I wanted to talk about what it is, why I use it, and some of the issues and bugs that I've seen with it. I did get some feedback over on my Instagram page at Emily H. Munn about this draft feature and some comments from you all, questions about how to use it. So I'll try to address those in the duration of this video. So hopefully it clears up some of the issues you've been seeing and questions you have. And let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with what the draft feature is on Poshmark. Essentially, it's a way to save your work, or that's how I think about it. So you can go into the Sell tab on the Poshmark app, take a few photos of an item, and let's say something comes up, you need to go do the dishes or do laundry or do a little bit more research on the item or whatever it is. You can cancel out of it and save your work. There are some limitations to that, which I will share with you a little bit later, but essentially it's just a way, like I said, to save your work. I have the Poshmark app open on my phone, and I'm just going to kind of walk you through the process of how to initially create a draft. So I will leave screenshots up in this corner on how to do each of these steps, but you can follow along with me on your phone if this would be easiest, because it's not super user intuitive to me. So essentially you go to the Sell tab, which is the middle tab on the Poshmark app, and you're going to capture a few photos. So in this case, I'm just going to capture a photo of my inventory system because it's over there while I'm filming this video. But essentially it has that filter thing that Poshmark still has on there from like 2012. But you're going to click the next button. And that brings you into like the listing details screen, which is very common for Poshmark and essentially where you go to do your listings. So you can fill out whatever information you want in the Poshmark draft. And for me, I'm just gonna leave the photo there of my inventory system. And then this is the part that's not very intuitive. You are gonna click cancel, which is on the upper left-hand corner. And you have two options. You can save the draft or discard changes. You have to be really careful here because I've already done this a few times. You can accidentally click discard changes and you lose all of your work. So instead, click save draft and the work you have done has been saved. So in order to access your drafts, you go to the Sell tab again and you go to the draft section, which is in the upper right-hand corner. And there is a limit here. You can have 15 drafts in your My Draft section of the Poshmark app. And a couple people asked me why I think it's this way. And I guess from an IT perspective, why I think Poshmark did this is to put a limitation on the amount of saved work that they have to store, because IT storage space does cost money, although it's pretty cheap at this point. I think they just didn't want it to become something where people never listed items, they just kept them in their drafts. So I would like Poshmark, if you're watching this, I would like Poshmark to make this probably a little bit more like 30 to 50 items. But maybe they'll do that in the future when they've gotten this feature a little bit more introduced to the community and figure out how people are using it. But right now the limit is 15. So in the My Draft section, I have a bunch of drafts that I've been doing for my Poshmark closet. I have the two drafts that I just took of my inventory system there, and they are ready for me to go back into. So if I click into one of them, it comes up with the listing details screen again. The reason I think that the drafts feature is a game changer for my personal business model is because I do a lot of batch work. So the idea of batch work is that you do similar processes at once, so you're not doing a lot of multitasking and jumping from task to task, and it just increases in efficiency, at least for me. So with batch work, I take photos all at once, I do research all at once, I put my numbers into inventory all at once. You get the idea there. But with the draft feature, what I plan to do is group similar items together and take photos and add the initial information to them in the draft, and then come back to them later. So for me, I'm thinking about the quick things here that I can add without really thinking about it, without doing any research, not taking any measurements, and then I can come back to them later without having to list them. For example, I have this stack of Lululemon and Athleta workout leggings. Shameless plug, these will be available in my Poshmark closet by the time this video goes live, and I'm going to use the draft feature to do it. So what I would do for batch work is I'm going to photograph each of these items in a draft and add the initial information. So that would be like the brand, if it's new with tags, the size of the item, the category it's in. So for the case of all of these items, it's pants, and then the color. So I'm going to add the basic information and the photos to a draft and then save it. And then I can come back to each of these items and I can add more specific information all at once. So I can do the titles all at once. I can do the descriptions all at once. And it just allows me to batch work a lot easier. Before, what I was doing is I would just photograph everything all at once, but I couldn't save it. And there is a little bit of lag on Poshmark when you upload photos. You have to wait a little bit. So this just makes it a lot easier for me to save my work and to batch work, which is why I think it's such a great feature for the Poshmark community. And I would highly recommend at least trying it out. Another thing that is great about this feature that is really important to me, because I do work full time, and so really the only time I can get good natural light is on the weekends, is that I can take my natural light filled photos on the weekends, save them to drafts, and then come back in little chunks over the week to list them. So there's a whole bunch of different ways to use it. That's how I plan to use it, is really utilizing batch work with it. If you have other ideas on how to use it, just leave them in the comments down below, and maybe we can learn from each other there. Of course, with any feature that a software company rolls out, there are some issues and some bugs with this feature that I have noticed, and I've been playing around with it, hopefully to give you a better idea for this video. But the first one I already mentioned, there's a limit of 15 Poshmark draft listings that you can do. I've talked about my reasoning earlier in this video, but I really would like that number to be increased so I can do bigger chunks of batch work. The second issue is a little bit different, and I don't know why this is happening, but essentially when you go into a draft, and let's say you save it for later. What I did for my example was I saved it for 6 full days, and then I filled out the rest of the draft and published it to Poshmark. What I found when I published it is it does show in the just in section of the brand. So I don't think it's an issue there. But what I'm seeing is that it says it's last updated 6 days ago. So the day I initially created the draft, and I'll leave a screenshot up in the corner so you can see what I mean. It shows in the just in, but it's saying last updated 6 days ago. I think this is a bug. It's not a huge deal, but I think it could be confusing. So the way I'm getting around that is I just go ahead and share the draft as soon as it's listed, and then the 6 days ago thing just goes away. So please be aware of that. I don't know why it's happening. Again, Poshmark, if you're watching this video, I'd really like to see that fixed, but it doesn't affect the just in. If it did, it would be a much bigger issue. Overall though, I think it's a great feature. I think you should at least try it out to be more efficient and effective in your Poshmark business. I really believe that time is one of the greatest currencies, so anything I can do to save time is definitely something I want to try out. So hopefully this is helpful. Let me know if it is down below. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. We're getting close to 1,000 subscribers, and I can't believe it. We're 3/4 of the way there. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!